Have you ever wondered how a mode of transport could become a ground for bloody conflicts? Welcome to the dark history of taxi wars in South Africa. Our story begins in the shadow of apartheid, a time when South Africa was a land divided. The policy of apartheid created separate townships outside white areas, places where infrastructure was scarce or non-existent. For black South Africans, this meant living far from the places where they worked, making the journey to and from their jobs a daily challenge. Public transportation, like buses and trains, were supposed to bridge this gap, but they often fell short, proving both inadequate and inconvenient. They couldn't keep up with the demand, leaving many commuters stranded and frustrated. And in this vacuum, a new solution emerged: the minibus taxi. The minibus taxi became an essential part of South African life, a lifeline for those who had been marginalized by the apartheid system. It was a grassroots solution to a systemic problem, and it wasn't long before the South African Black Taxi Association, or SABTA, was formed. Recognized in 1987 as the official organization representing the black taxi industry, SABTA was a response to the needs of a growing industry. But this recognition came with its own set of challenges. Other associations, like the South African Long Distance Taxi Association, also emerged, leading to a clash of interests. The stage was set for a power struggle within the industry itself, as different groups vied for control over the lucrative taxi routes. Thus, the roots of the taxi wars were planted, deep in the soil of apartheid South Africa. From a desperate need for transportation to the formation of powerful taxi associations, the seeds of conflict were sown. And with the recognition of SABTA, the stage was unknowingly set for a conflict that would plague South Africa for decades to come. Fast forward to today, the taxi industry has become a multi-billion rand operation, responsible for the commute of over 60% of South Africa's lower economic class. It's a complex web of operations woven together by the people's need for mobility and the market's desire for profit. The industry is almost entirely dominated by 16-seater commuter Toyota Quantum buses. These vehicles, often in questionable roadworthy conditions, weave through South African streets laden with passengers. Their drivers, notorious for their disregard for traffic regulations, are well known for overloading their vehicles with passengers, a dangerous practice that is sadly all too common. But beneath the surface, the taxi industry is a turbulent sea. An effectively unregulated market, paired with fierce competition for passengers and lucrative routes, has led to taxi operators banding together. They form local and national associations, organizations that soon begin to exhibit mafia-like tactics. They hire hitmen, known as Izinkabi, and engage in all-out gang warfare, a bloody competition for dominance of the streets and the profits that come with it. The repercussions of this are grave and far-reaching. A study conducted by the Automobile Association of South Africa paints a stark picture. It reveals an annual total of 70,000 minibus taxi crashes. This indicates that taxis in South Africa account for double the rate of crashes than all other passenger vehicles. A chilling testament to the chaos that reigns within the industry. And who holds the reins of this tumultuous industry? Major companies like SA Taxi Finance, a subsidiary of Transaction Capital, Bridge Taxi Finance, Josie Taxis and Taxi Affinity. These companies, far removed from the violence and chaos on the streets, pull the strings and reap the profits, while the common people bear the brunt of the industry's disorder. Despite carrying the majority of South Africa's commuters, the taxi industry has transformed into a battlefield, with the common people caught in the crossfire. The city of Cape Town offers a chilling glimpse into the intensity of these taxi wars. In the heart of this coastal gem, a battle rages on, the 2021 Cape Town taxi conflict. This war was not fought with armies, but with the roar of engines and the clash of rival taxi operators Kata and Kodeta, both vying for control over the B97 taxi route between Bellville and Paarl. This conflict was no mere disagreement. It was a violent, bloody struggle that claimed the lives of at least 7 taxi drivers in separate shooting incidents. But the violence didn't stop there. Taxi operators in Cape Town have been linked to a number of arson attacks on passenger rail services and buses. Extortion, murder, and violent conflicts became the order of the day, turning the city's streets into a battleground. This is the harsh reality behind the picturesque facades of Cape Town. A city known for its stunning landscapes and vibrant culture, now marred by the brutal taxi wars. The beautiful city of Cape Town, now also known as the city of taxi wars. The question that looms large is, what can the government and we, as responsible citizens, do to curb this taxi violence? The answer is in our collective actions. We need to foster a culture of awareness and responsibility. We must urge our governments to take decisive action to regulate the taxi industry effectively, ensuring safety measures are not just guidelines, but compulsory standards. The enforcement of these measures should be strict and consistent, with penalties for those who disregard them. We must demand transparency in the industry's ownership and insist on fair competition to break the cycle of violence spurred by territorial disputes. Imagine a South Africa where every journey is a safe one, where the taxi industry is a reliable and peaceful part of everyday life. We can make this vision a reality, but it requires us all to play our part. Remember, change begins with awareness. So let's spread the word and stand against the taxi violence in South Africa. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and like and leave a comment below.